4 gunshots. In the leg, the chest, and the head. And then, as she lay dying on the floor, she was stabbed multiple times in the face and neck. This wasn't a random crime. This was personal. This was pure rage. When Keyon Pittman came home that evening, he found his fiancée's body right there on the garage floor. But what happened next is what shocked everyone. The exact moment he found her, he didn't call 911. He called another woman. Think about that for a second. His pregnant fiancée is lying dead on the ground, and his very first instinct is to call a woman Avis never even knew existed. Who was she? And why did she need to know what happened before the police did?
Avis Banks was 27 years old, bright, warm, the kind of person who just made you feel seen the moment she walked into a room. She worked as a daycare assistant in Ridgeland, Mississippi. She loved her community, and she was deeply in love with her fiancé, Keyon Pittman. He was a local teacher and a basketball coach, a man her family truly believed was good for her. By the fall of 2006, everything Avis had been working toward was finally coming together. She was 5 months pregnant. The wedding was just around the corner. Her future looked exactly the way she had always imagined it. But here is what Avis didn't know.
The man she was building that life with had already started building a completely different one, with someone else. And that someone else had already decided there was absolutely no room for Avis in it. Her name was Carla Hughes. She was 25 years old, working as a language arts teacher at Chastain Middle School in Jackson, the exact same school where Keyon worked. On paper, Carla was everything you would want your child's teacher to be. She held a master's degree, volunteered at her church, was a former beauty pageant contestant, and was even working toward her doctorate. But the moment Keyon Pittman walked into that school, something shifted. The two began an affair almost immediately. They met up at her townhouse, they took romantic trips together. They even passed secret notes to each other through students in the hallways. And Carla knew the whole time. She knew about Avis. She knew about the baby. She didn't just know. She pressured Keyon repeatedly to leave them. But he refused. So now, here is the question that hangs over this entire story. What does a woman do when the man she wants chooses someone else's baby over her? We are about to find out. It was November 29th, 2006. Avis came home, stepped into her garage, and never made it inside. When investigators looked at the scene, the house had been completely ransacked. Drawers were pulled out, and things were scattered all over the floor. But the detectives noticed something strange almost immediately. Nothing was taken. Literally nothing. So who stages a burglary but doesn't steal a thing? Someone who desperately needed it to look like a stranger did it. And when Keyon called Carla before ever dialing 911, police found their first real thread to pull. Naturally, the police looked at Pittman first. He admitted to the affair almost immediately, which, of course, only made him look worse. But something didn't add up about Carla Hughes either. She told investigators she didn't have access to a gun. That was a lie. Her own cousin came forward and told police he had lent her a loaded .38 caliber revolver, the exact type of weapon used to kill Avis. And when Carla returned it to him, it was completely empty. Every single bullet was gone. Prosecutors also placed her right near the scene. Her phone records put her in the area, and forensic evidence connected her directly to the attack. On December 8th, 2006, just 9 days after the murder, Carla Hughes was charged with 2 counts of capital murder. 2 counts. Because in Mississippi, killing a pregnant woman is legally considered a double homicide. Avis Banks, and her unborn child. But here is the detail that nobody could fully answer, even at the trial. Where was Keyon Pittman that night? He was never charged. He walked away. The man both women loved, the man who refused to make a choice, faced absolutely no consequences. He testified against Carla at her trial. And then he just went home. The trial began in October of 2009, nearly 3 years after the murder. The jury, made up of 9 women and 3 men, deliberated and came back with a verdict. Guilty on both counts.
Carla Hughes sobbed loudly as the judge read the decision aloud. Prosecutors pushed hard for the death penalty, describing the attack as calculated, brutal, and carried out against a defenseless pregnant woman in her own home. But the jury declined. Instead, Carla Hughes received 2 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. She is currently serving that sentence at the Central Mississippi Correctional Facility for Women. She will die there. Avis Banks was 27 years old. She had a name picked out for her baby. She had a wedding date. And she died in her own garage, never knowing that the woman who took her life had been sitting just down the hall from her fiancé every single day. The man she trusted with her life, her pregnancy, and her entire future called her killer before he ever called for help. No one has ever answered for that. And Avis Banks, who never got to be a wife or a mother, deserved so much better than the life that was chosen for her. If justice means anything, it means remembering the ones the system forgot. This has been DeadDocket. Subscribe, because these stories don't tell themselves.